What's happening, everyone? Hope you're having a great day. Wanted to hop on here. I get questions a lot from first-time home buyers really not understanding the process. So I thought it would be a great idea just to kind of break down the steps of what it takes for you to actually get the keys to your home on closing day. And really, when I look at these steps are really non-negotiable. A lot of times I see people try to do this in reverse, ends up becoming a disastrous situation and decision for them. So, and I'll explain to you a little bit what I mean by that. But again, I want to just kind of break down the mortgage basic process and then take you through, once we get through that, what's the next steps from there in order to start shopping for your home and making those decisions. So first and foremost, before you ever think about looking at a house, dreaming about a house, scouring the internet for homes, I would madly encourage you to get your pre-approval numbers. Make sure you know your budget. Make sure you know what you qualify for. Make sure that you can qualify before you get too deep into the process. And again, a little bit later, I'll explain why. But basically what you would do is the 500-foot overview of what it looks like to get pre-qualified from a lender. You would reach out to a lender. You would obviously fill out an application. An application needs to be filled out as thoroughly as possible, making sure that you have all your legal information, your name, your social, all the date of birth, address, your employers, all of the information, all of your assets. All of this information is vitally important, and it's important that it is accurate as it possibly can be. Now, we're going to verify this information and make sure that it is through documentation, but you want to make sure that you are being as accurate as possible, because it will affect your pre-approval if anything doesn't come back that's contrary to what you put into the application. Because again, whatever you put on the application has to be backed up by evidence. It has to have W-2s and pay stubs and bank statements and bankruptcy paperwork and all the different things that are involved in putting a file together. You have to make sure that these things are as accurate as possible. Make sure that you're being as upfront as possible with your loan officer, even to the point where if you had a previous job, so on and so forth. Now, we all know that you don't have to be on the same job for 2 years. That's a big myth, but we do have to have a 2-year work history. So that means if you've had 3 jobs in the last 2 years, we need to be relatively close to those dates. And if there's any gaps, we need to know what those gaps were from, how big those gaps were, so we can address those things from that perspective. Basically, you will fill out this application. The lender, after your e-consent, will then pull your credit, then determine from a credit worthiness, and then they should ask you for W-2s and pay stubs or income documentation, as well as, if you're putting money down, bank statements, so we can determine where that money's coming from. And obviously I'm not going to go too in depth on this video as the different routes, whether it's a gift or a down payment assistance or different things like that. But asking for those things, getting those things and providing those to your lender up front makes the process that much more concrete, right? Because ultimately what you want to do, and I use the analogy, the golden ticket, right? You remember Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory, he had the golden ticket. He won that so that he could go through the factory. Well, the golden ticket in our business is that pre-approval, and we want that pre-approval to be as solid as possible. Guys, there's numerous times where there's been a pre-approval issued, and for whatever reason, they go into contract and 3-4 days before closing, it can't be done. Now, there are those rare situations where things may pop up that we weren't aware of, but for the most part, we should be able to get all of that information dialed in from the jump and determine from the beginning so that there are no pitfalls like that. Things that we have to, reports that we have to run and so on and so forth. Once we have your income documentation and we can validate what's been put on the application, we can run what's called DU, or desktop underwriting, or AUS, or however it's automated underwriting system. There's different automated underwriting systems depending on the loan program that you're running. Basically, that will be your approval, right? That we would give an approval or a refer, and then we will build the file based on that. But once that pre-approval from DU has been established, we've established budget, we've established all of the intricate parts of the loan itself, we can issue that golden ticket. And that golden ticket allows you at that point to begin to start looking for properties. But what I really encourage you to do is to literally pick a real estate agent. Align yourself with a partner in a real estate agent so that they can identify your needs, identify the things that you're looking for, to identify the school areas you want to be in, the acreage that you want to be on, whether you want to be in the city or you want to be out in the country, whatever the case may be. Do you want a 2-bedroom, a 3-bedroom, a 2-bath? Do you want a basement? Do you want a crawl space? Do you want a 2-story? Do you want a ranch? Do you want a garage? Do you want an outbuilding? All of these laundry list of things, wish list things that you would like to have, you can articulate that to the agent. You have the golden ticket, which tells you how much money or how much home you can buy, and you've given the wish list to your agent so they can begin to go to work and work hard for you by getting you those available homes so that you're not wasting your time scouring the internet and wondering if this is available or that's not available or that's contingent or that's not contingent. They will literally put you in front of the homes that have an opportunity for you to put an offer in, and they represent you. They represent you wholly and protect your interests from that perspective. So I highly recommend that you do this. But the golden ticket, along with a partnership with a real estate agent, can get you in front of the right home to make an offer. Once that offer is accepted, that contract is then turned back over to your lender. The lender may collect a few more documents, or depending on how long it's taken from the time the loan had been pre-approved to the time that the contract had actually been accepted, there might be some seasoning issues with some of the documents. You'll have to update those documents, and then the lender can begin to go to work and order an appraisal, which is going to determine the value. Order title work to make sure that there's no encumbering title issues, making sure there's no encroachments on the property through a survey, all those types of things. And then once all of that comes together, after the loan has been then looked at by an underwriter is a human being that will actually take that automated underwriting approval and begin to go down through the list and look at the income and check, look at the banking, check. We'll look at everything and make sure that everything lines up and puts that file together to push it towards what we call a clear to close. Once the title work comes in, appraisal comes in, all other ancillary documents come in that are necessary to put that file together, will then be issued a clear to close, and then we can schedule with the title company for both seller and buyer to show up and close on that transaction, to sign their closing documents and get the keys to the home. So guys, it's a very simple process, but when I was at the beginning of the video, I was talking about do not do this in reverse. I've had multiple clients that have come to me that did, let's say they did their building specs and wanted to build a home. They had the dollar price of the home that it was going to cost. They had their land already. They wanted to get finance for that particular home, and they had never gone through the pre-approval process to see if they could even qualify for that much home. Lots of people will go out, run out, and get overly excited about a property, thinking in their mind, well, I bought a home before, it shouldn't be a problem, or I've done this process before, it shouldn't be a problem, or I got great credit. And to me, you are literally, no matter how good your credit is, your assets are, all of that, you're skipping a step, which I think is vitally important, just to double check and make sure that you have that golden ticket, that pre-approval that allows you to look at those properties. Because when you find a property that you fall in love with, you're going to emotionally fall in love with that. And there's nothing worse than emotionally falling in love with a property and then finding out 3 weeks into the process that your loan cannot be closed, that you have been denied. And then you have to be juggled around to see if other lenders could potentially put it together, and then come up at the end of knowing that, no, I cannot afford this home, or I cannot qualify for this home. To me, it's just an utter waste of time, effort, and energy and emotion. And so you want to make sure that if you to create a process that will be seamless, that will be as anxiety-free as possible, make sure that you follow these steps to get to your bottom line. So I hope that's been helpful to you, kind of breaking down the process from beginning to end. Get lots of questions about that. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye for now.